video. I think Cap was doing an interview, and then of course Cap's infamous back and forth with Polite at that time. You know, that was my exposure to Cap. And my exposure to Gorilla was more so when he did a sit down with Polite. You know, I seen a sit down that he was doing with Polite. And it was beautiful because it was totally different from how I seen Israelites communicate in times past. It was slowed down, it was educational, and it wasn't fiery in a sense. I was able to learn a lot. So I was exposed, that's how I got exposed to both of you guys. So do both of you guys fully understand, of course, since that time period, y'all brand have grown, the influence that you have on the Israelite community? Y'all can kind of speak to that individually, and you can speak about the other individual.
Think about that.
Yep, throw that in there too.
I mean, just definitely, I saw, you know, I pay attention to analytics, numbers, things of that nature. So, I was paying attention to the analytics before I got on the SHALAM platform. I saw what happened after that. I saw what happened where they were before to sit down with Polite. I saw what happened after that. And what's funny is when I met with Polite the first time, he said something to me, because we met him in a hotel. We was in a hotel lobby, and he said, a lot of people gonna hate you after this, but you're gonna be on another level of popularity after this, right? And he wasn't wrong about that on both counts, because a lot came from just that one sit down, you know what I'm saying? But of course, we always saw him for what he was. Maybe not to the degree that, you know, we maybe not knew to the degree, but we always saw him for what he was. He was just out here. As soon as I heard somebody say a black woman is God, I already knew what time it was. He's coming to hit, he's coming to rob something. If he's coming to rob still, that's it. You know, so that's all I can say about that.
Yeah, I kind of say the same thing. I got introduced to the SHALAM platform, I think back in the summer of 2013. My first interaction with SHALAM, he gave me a SETI DVD that was trash in the Bible, which I in turn threw in the trash. And then, but they kept, coming back and forth, and then, doing the battles and stuff like that, and even my interaction with that brother, put me into a space, like Gorilla said, from an analytic perspective that I didn't have prior to. Because now, he was like the golden boy. And so now you take that.
Did you debate SETI, Cap?
Nah, I only had a conversation with SETI. SETI said he would never debate me because he said I was too crazy. Dead ass serious.
Imagine SETI calling somebody crazy.
Right.
He told me on the phone, you too crazy, I'm not debating. He wouldn't even have like a sit down. We had one over the phone conversation, I think a couple years ago, but then that was it. But then like the popularity comes, but there's a responsibility that comes with it too. Because I learned from the past. So what I feel was ICE or even like from the 90s and stuff like that, I'm only talking about from the Israelite perspective, is that when brothers got popularity, it went to their heads. A lot of pride coming there, money coming there, fame, whatever it may be. And that's the typical Israelite, in the world, out the world. When you get popular, this comes with it. So what always kept me grounded was I just never wanted to feel the Most High in that. So there's a certain responsibility. So I have to be able to go sit in arenas or platforms where people may not think I.S.U.P.K would ever go. I'm pretty sure you might have the same thing from your side. So I could invite Gorilla into my home because that's the realm that I'm in. I can go to his home. I can go to SHALAM's world. I can go into the church. I can go any world. And the responsibility that comes is not to change my integrity, but then to still connect with brothers that they may think we're never going to connect with them. Or my brothers may think we're never going to connect with them. But then I could be in a position where I can say, nah, we can connect, we can talk, we can chop it up like that. So I hope I answered your question.
No, Con, all praise. Just moving to the next one, right? A phrase that I use is the logo is kind of represents the camps, because we all teach that the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true children of Israel, but, we're separated from color schemes, maybe a side of the Americas that we're on, or even just the logo itself. So that's what I mean by the logo when I'm talking about a camp. And then the logos itself is the word, which is, we know that the word teaches us Zephaniah 2:1, we should gather ourselves together, etc. So you have matters that in the public that kind of goes down and shapes up the community. So, but also you have leaders that takes the opportunity to respond to those particular situations that happen. So my next question would be, which public response from a camp be do you feel a leader should communicate in the public eye? And do you feel like it should be from the influence of the logo or the logos?
To confirm, are you asking in regards to the camp involved in it or just in general?
More so the camp involved in it, but you can speak from a general space if you feel like your camp is not involved in camp beats. I'll keep it general now.
I mean, I don't think there's a uniform answer to that. I think that, each situation is different. Unfortunately, we bicker, we beef, we fight amongst each other here and there. And, no circumstance is exactly the same, so it's really gonna depend on the circumstance, but you definitely should, come based upon the word first, because that's something that we all universally stand on, respect, follow, etc. Of course, you have to uphold the integrity of your logo though too, of your organization, because that means something, right? The logo, the word tells us what? A name, right? A good name is very valuable, right? So you definitely have to come with the integrity of your organization or your logo, but we should always come out the word. But every situation is different. There's no two situations that are exactly the same and identical. So how you handle them is gonna vary.
Fair. Cap?
I agree, every situation is different. Sometimes, depending on what the incident is, there ain't gonna be an opportunity for both factions that are actually directly involved to actually communicate. It just depends on what it is. So if you got two factions going at each other, should they talk to each other? I think they should. I think if I ever have an issue with anybody, I try to be direct with talking about it, unless it's something done publicly. If it's something done publicly, then I may respond publicly without necessarily speaking to the individual, now speaking from a general position. That's me observing. If I'm directly involved in it, if I can talk to whatever the other side is, I'll do that. Like, I've had run-ins with other, what y'all say as far as camps go. I've had run-ins with them and I'll contact them directly. So I've called Gorilla, I've called Zabak, I've called. The only people I've never been able to call is the IUIC brothers. I've never been able to call them because there's nothing to call. I've only interacted with them one time. But, so if you can do that, then so be it. But then again, it also determines on what actually was done, because in some instances, the one that caused the greater offense should be the one reaching out. So that's how I look at it.
Wise answer. When I was originally choosing a body for myself, the reason why I'm utilizing myself is because I'm speaking for a lot of people in Israel, is that was one of the stains on the community. When I kind of came into it, it was around, like I said, 2013 when I was viewing it. And, from Sinai's platform, we seen unity of Israelites. And I'm talking about from a distance. I don't know how it looked like on the inside, but it was, you seen the Israelites being as a collective, though it was under different brands and names. But then as I researched more, I seen that there was feuds between different bodies. And that was always a negative strike to me on actually making a solid choice in the area that I came up with. So I will ask y'all this. Should soldiers or war dogs or troopers or prospects or officers, captains, etc., inherit the beef of two adult men who continue to harbor an issue with each other and won't address it?
Question. Going back to Memphis a couple years ago, we had an incident, and there was a confrontation between IUIC and, the elders from the House of David, and I was there, and I was pulled into it. What I said to achieve peace in that situation was I approached Deacon Abiel and I said, whatever they got going on, whatever them older brothers got going on, they was at One West together. That's all when everybody get to talking, what they start talking about, the school. We was in the school, we was in One West together. We could never really understand the dynamics because we wasn't back there. You know, we came in now. So I told them, let them have that, right? Let those men who are contemporary with each other, let them have that. Let's move forward and just, keep it what it is. That's what I'll say. I've heard a million stories about One West, right? From all of it, cause I'm like a history guy. So I wanna sit and I wanna listen to everybody who was there, everybody who I've met in person, every video I've seen about it. I wanna hear about, well, what was One West like? What was going on? How was class like? What was all these things? And I hear about it. I don't know exactly what was going on or where some of this stuff stems from. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's for us to understand necessarily. Like you said, Captain TAZARYACH said, we supposed to look at that, whatever happened, and go, okay, whatever got these brothers mad at each other, let's not do that in our generation. Should people necessarily inherit it? No, but, in the but to that is like, when I was talking to Captain Cobb last night, and he told me about the situation that happened in Pittsburgh, and gave the context. It's like, if you just tell me, if I tell you, hey, well, my leader said this, and it's wasn't nothing disrespectful, it was actually something invited and brotherly, and your response is F him, well then now, now it's something else, right? So now, it's like it inherit me, but it's not because you disrespected me, because it's just the same thing. Think about if you're a kid at school and somebody says F your daddy, or my dad will beat your dad up. It's the same thing. That's who I'm with. So that disrespect, that direct disrespect, even though I'm not the person you're disrespecting, I'm with that person. So now you're disrespecting me. Right. So that's where the line is. It's one thing to just walking around harboring somebody else's issues, but it's another thing when somebody brings it directly to you. Now you're being pulled into it. You're being disrespected. So that's kind of how this thing works, and I think how it trickles down and spreads throughout Israel now.
Yeah, I have to, I'm sorry, please.
I was just gonna ask you, did you want me to repeat it or you got it?
Yeah, I think I got it, and I think you inherit whatever your fathers already have, and just if like Romans 15:4 say, whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning, that the patience and comfort of the scriptures we might have hope. So just like we inherited the curses, you inherit whatever you join. If you join any faction, you inherit it. That's first and foremost. That's why what Gorilla said when they start saying you ain't gotta, that don't mean that you gotta walk around and when you see somebody that's from the faction that you inherited, they gotta be that you gotta just jump on them. There's a certain level of discipline and decorum that you can carry yourself with. But if there's any level of disrespect to whatever you join, you have inherited that. Otherwise, why join? What happens a lot of times is that we want to be Israelites and then we want to be Christian. What I mean by this is we want the word of the Lord. Like if we at camp and stuff like that, we always bring up Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a man of war. We bring that scripture up. But when it comes to seeing brothers clash on any level, it could be doctrinally, physically, although I know physically is looked at a little worse, but I'm just using that. When they see that, they say, that's not the Lord. They'll say, that's not the Lord. And you can't say that that's not the Lord, because I've seen David unite Israel by going to war. David didn't unite Israel by a powwow between the tribe of Benjamin and the tribe of Judah so that they can relinquish the throne that they felt was theirs. David went to war, and when the war was over, Then they said, okay, David, we submit to you. And I think it's first or second Chronicles 5:1 when it says, the whole nation of Israel said, we are thy bone and thy flesh. They did it because Israelites respect war. Israelites respect the winners of the war, and that's how you determine who the Lord is with. So that's first. So second, does that mean that if I see, so I'm gonna use me and Gorilla as an example. Me and Gorilla is in a die-hard beef. And then his man and my man, they know they in that die-hard beef. When they see each other, do they now go to blows? We are not necessarily going to blows just because we got beef. If you use the example with House of David and IUIC, if you use that example, they're not going to physical blows. So why, when they see each other, do they have to go to physical blows? Why do they even have to be bothered? Because maybe what could happen is how y'all communicate can help their communication. So that's another way of kind of approaching it. That's kind of how I approach it. How I kind of approach it is that, I remember I went to Israel. I went to Israel in 2017. House of David is in it. That's me. Let me put my, I think they said to put the phones on vibrate, so I did. So House of David was in Israel, right? And they knew I was in Israel at the time. And technically, their elders, Commander Jenny Hanna, got this so-called beef. Now, Commander Jenny Hanna doesn't have animosity towards them like that, but they don't speak. Them brothers, Barak, Mathathawa, and all of them drove an hour and a half to come get me from Ashkelon to drive me to Sodom and Gomorrah, Dead Sea Scroll, not Dead Sea Scroll. See the Dead Sea. Took me all over Israel. Didn't charge me nothing. Because although there's this so-called beef, it's not as deep as folks might think about it. And to have confrontations is not the end of the world because you can grow outside of those confrontations. And I love Barak for doing that, Mathathawa for doing that. I tell him, to this day, I won't say an ill word about them because they didn't have to do that for me. So there's a certain way that you can carry yourself, but you do inherit whatever, you inherit the good and the bad. We inherit the good and bad of black people, and you inherit the good and the bad of whatever you decide to join.
All praises, excellent question, answers on both sides. Cool. Let's get to it. This will be question number 4. On a scale from 1 to 10, how badly do y'all dislike each other?
I say about 9. No. Nah, man. It's 0, man. And people, again, so like you said, sometimes people get disillusioned, man. But I've been knowing Captain TAZARYACH, man, for a minute, man. And we got genuine love for each other, man. And we've been having it, and through the Spirit of the Most High, we're gonna keep having it.
That's right. I say the same thing. Mine is a 0 also, and I think people get confused. And I try to say this as much as possible. If anybody sees somebody disagreeing with somebody's position based on the word of the Lord, does not mean you dislike them because you have a difference of opinion with them. Right? You should be able to have a difference, and then it's not considered hate or he don't like him. He should be entitled to his opinion, explain his opinion, and then that's that. So I don't have no ill will towards Gorilla Hebrew at all.
Yeah, I think we living in really because this isn't even just the Israelite thing. Like, this is going all over the world where people act as if 2 different people have a difference of opinion, then that just means they shouldn't even be associated with each other. I don't know how in the world it's gotten to this now. On a worldly level, you see people that this person a Democrat, this person a damn Republican, but they're best friends. They'll sit there and argue about politics all day, but they still are best friends. I know that's how it was when we was younger and we was coming up and things of that nature, but there's something that just got, the world has just got real soft within the last 10, 15 years, man, for sure. It's got real soft, and now either everybody is robotically identical and thinks all the same thing, or you shouldn't be associated with that person at all.
All praise. In reference to, I know you guys, like y'all had 2 different answers or 2 different style answers that, it shouldn't be physical.